Now we discuss formation of concentrated urine. Formation of concentrated urine. Formation of concentrated urine. While urine is passing through ascending limb of loop of Henle from the proximal part, sodium chloride bicarbonate enter into medullary fluid passively. While urine is passing through distal part of ascending limb, sodium chloride bicarbonates enter into medullary fluid by active transport. So it is the first step. While primary urine is passing through ascending limb of loop of Henle from the proximal part of ascending limb, electrolytes reabsorbed passively. While primary urine is passing through distal part of ascending limb, electrolytes are reabsorbed actively. Now the electrolytes, so that is the step 1. The electrolytes present in the medullary fluid enter into descending limb of vasa recta. Descending limb of vasa recta. While blood is passing through ascending limb of vasa recta, electrolytes enter into medullary fluid. In this manner, the electrolytes move from one place to another place in the medullary fluid. In the cortex, concentration is 300 osmoles per liter. In medulla, 600, 900. Inner surface, 1200 osmoles per liter. Osmoles per liter. Like Avogadro's number, if their number increases, concentration increases, when compared to cortex, inner border of medulla, the concentration is 4 times more, 600, 900, 1200 osmoles per liter. Similarly, so it is the third. Fourth one is urea present in the medullary fluid enter into ascending limb of loop of Henle while primary urine is passing through straight collecting duct. Urea enter into medullary fluid. So in this manner, urea and electrolytes move from one place to another place, increase the concentration of medullary fluid. As a result, while primary urine is passing through straight collecting duct, water is easily reabsorbed. So in the posterior part of straight collecting duct, hypertonic urine is formed. Hypertonic urine is formed. Once again, 5 steps. While urine is passing through ascending limb of loop of Henle, electrolytes like sodium chloride, bicarbonates reabsorbed passively from the proximal part. Electrolytes reabsorbed actively from the distal part of ascending limb of loop of Henle. That is the first point. Now the electrolytes present in the medullary fluid secreted into descending limb of vasa recta. So along with the blood in the vasa recta, electrolytes travel from the descending limb into ascending limb of vasa recta. Ascending limb. Ascending limb of vasa recta. In ascending, while blood is passing through ascending limb of vasa recta, electrolytes from ascending limb secreted into the medullary fluid. Fourth one, urea present in the medullary fluid secreted into the ascending limb of loop of Henle, while primary urine is passing through straight collecting duct. Urea present in the small quantity of urea present in the primary urine from the lumina of straight collecting duct reabsorbed into medullary fluid. In this manner, movement of electrolytes and urea from one place to another place increase the concentration of medullary fluid. In the cortex, concentration is 300 osmoles per liter. In medulla, 600 osmoles, 900. Inner border of medulla contain 1200 osmoles per liter. Means the concentration of medullary fluid 4 times greater than the concentration of cortical fluid. So what happens? Concentration of medullary fluid increases. As a result, while primary urine is passing through straight collecting duct, water is easily reabsorbed. Due to reabsorption of water, concentration of the urine increases. In this manner, hypertonic urine is formed in the posterior part of straight collecting duct. The urine formed in the posterior part of straight collecting duct is known as secondary urine. The urine present in the lumina of Bowman capsule is known as primary urine. The concentration of secondary urine is 4 times greater than the concentration of primary urine. So this is about formation of concentrated urine. So if you remember these 5 steps, the paper setter may ask, electrolytes reabsorbed from dash part or electrolytes secreted into dash part. Electrolytes reabsorbed from the ascending limb of loop of Henle and ascending limb of vasa recta. Electrolytes are secreted into the descending limb of loop of Henle. Urea is reabsorbed from straight collecting duct. Urea is secreted into the ascending limb of loop of Henle. Formation of concentrated urine. Now we discuss the regulation of kidney function. Regulation of kidney function. Regulation of kidney function. Sometimes we consume less amount of water. Intake of less amount of water. Intake of less amount of water. At the time, blood volume decreases. Blood volume decreases. Whenever blood volume decreases, in our body osmotic receptors are present. Osmotic receptors activated. Why osmotic receptors are activated? Whenever blood volume decreases, concentration of blood increases, osmotic pressure increases. Osmotic pressure increases or decreases. At the time, osmotic receptors are activated. The activated osmotic receptors stimulate the hypothalamus. Stimulate the hypothalamus. The hypothalamus release the antidiuretic hormone. Release the antidiuretic hormone. The antidiuretic hormone promote the facultative reabsorption. Facultative reabsorption. Antidiuretic hormone promote the facultative reabsorption. Reabsorption through DCT and straight collecting duct. As a result, what happens? Blood volume increases. So blood volume become normal. Previously blood volume decreases, now blood volume become normal. Blood volume become normal. Osmotic receptors inactivate. Osmotic receptors inactivate. At the time, we excrete hypertonic urine. Hypertonic urine. So generally we never drink constant quantity of water. So we never measure how many glasses of water we drink. So some days we may consume or drink less quantity of water. Some days more quantity. So maybe holiday. At the time we may drink more glasses of water. So that's why. So intake of less amount of water. Sometimes we take less amount of water. At the time blood volume decreases. Blood volume decreases. Blood volume decreases means osmotic receptors present in our body activated. So what is the function of osmotic receptors? If osmotic pressure, concentration of blood increase or decrease, they activated. Now the concentration, osmotic receptors activated. Why? Osmotic pressure of blood increases. Now the osmotic receptors activated and stimulate the hypothalamus. Hypothalamus release antidiuretic hormone. In presence of antidiuretic hormone, facultative reabsorption. Reabsorption through DCT and straight collecting duct. Reabsorption means water from the primary urine only reabsorbed. So now what happened due to reabsorption? Blood volume, after some time blood volume become normal. So whenever blood volume become normal, osmotic pressure also normal. So osmotic receptors inactivated. Due to facultative reabsorption, we excrete hypertonic urine. Sometimes we take excess amount of water. Intake of excess amount of water. Intake of excess amount of water. At the time, blood volume increases. Blood volume increases, so osmotic pressure decreases. That's why osmotic receptors activated. Osmotic receptors activated. Osmotic receptors activated. Now they stimulate the hypothalamus. Hypothalamus stop the release of antidiuretic hormone. So no facultative reabsorption. No facultative reabsorption. So no facultative reabsorption means what happens? We excrete hypotonic urine. Hypotonic urine, dilute urine, and blood volume become normal. Previously blood volume is increases. Due to lack of facultative reabsorption, blood volume become normal. Blood volume become normal. Osmotic receptors inactivate. Osmotic receptors inactivate. So sometimes we consume excess amount of water. If you consume excess amount of water, blood volume increases. So blood volume increases means osmotic pressure decreases, concentration of blood decreases. Whenever concentration of blood decreases, osmotic receptors activated. They stimulate the hypothalamus. Hypothalamus stop the release of antidiuretic hormone. In the absence of antidiuretic hormone, no reabsorption of water take place in DCT, distal convoluted tubule, and straight collecting duct. As a result, we excrete hypotonic urine. Moreover, what happens? The water goes out. So no facultative reabsorption. As a result, after some time blood volume become normal. Once the blood volume become normal, osmotic pressure become normal. Once the osmotic pressure normal, osmotic receptors inactivated. Osmotic receptors inactivated. So if we take less amount of water, blood volume decreases. At the time, osmotic pressure increases. Osmotic receptors present in our body activate. They activate the hypothalamus. Hypothalamus release antidiuretic hormone. Antidiuretic hormone, also known as vasopressin. ADH or vasopressin promote facultative reabsorption. So water is reabsorbed from the primary urine while passing through DCT and straight collecting duct. As a result, blood volume become normal. Once blood volume become normal, osmotic receptors inactivated. So due to facultative reabsorption, what happens? We excrete hypertonic urine. So sometimes we consume excess amount of water. At the time blood volume increases. Osmotic receptors activated. They inactivate the hypothalamus. Hypothalamus stop the release of ADH. So in the absence of ADH, no facultative reabsorption. So due to after some time what happened, due to due to absence of facultative reabsorption, what happened, more amount of water goes out, so blood volume become normal. Previously blood volume is more, now blood volume become normal after some time. So once the blood volume become normal, osmotic receptors inactivate. So this process occur in healthy person. In some patients what happen, intake, they consume less amount of water, so blood volume decrease, so osmotic receptors activated, they stimulate the hypothalamus. So sometimes hypothalamus, in some patient hypothalamus fail to release antidiuretic hormone, or sometimes hypothalamus release antidiuretic hormone, but hormonal receptor destroyed. Hormone first attaches to receptor, hormone receptor complex is formed, then only it promote the faculty to reabsorption. Even though osmotic receptors activated, they activate the hypothalamus, defect in hypothalamus, in some persons unable to release antidiuretic hormone, in some persons hypothalamus release ADH, but defect in the hormonal receptor. First hormone attaches to the receptor, due to absence of hormonal receptor, no faculty to reabsorption, further blood volume decreases. At the time ROS mechanism is operating. So what happened, ADH, so unable to release, hypothalamus may release ADH, unable to attaches to a receptor. First hormone attaches to receptor, hormonal receptor complex is formed. Even though ADH is released, it failed to promote the faculty to reabsorption, so still blood volume decreases. At the time juxtaglomerular cells detect the low blood volume, detect the low blood volume in afferent arteriole. Afferent arteriole. Afferent arteriole. At the time juxtaglomerular cells secrete renin, liver secrete angiotensinogen, liver secrete angiotensinogen, renin acts on angiotensinogen, converted into angiotensin 1. Now lungs release angiotensin converting enzyme, convert angiotensin 1 into angiotensin 2, angiotensin 2 stimulate the adrenal cortex, release aldosterone promote faculty to reabsorption, Aldosterone promote faculty to reabsorption. Once again, in some patients, they take less amount of water, so blood volume decreases. Osmotic receptors activated. They stimulate the hypothalamus. In some persons, defect in the hypothalamus. So hypothalamus fail to release antidiuretic hormone. In some persons, hypothalamus release antidiuretic hormone, but receptor is destroyed. So in the absence of receptor, antidiuretic hormone unable to attaches. So if it is unable to attaches means unable to promote the faculty to reabsorption. So at the time further the blood volume decreases. At the time juxtaglomerular cells are the modified smooth muscle cells present in the afferent arteriole, release renin, enzyme renin. Liver release a substance angiotensinogen. Renin acts as angiotensinogen converted into angiotensin 1. Lungs release angiotensin converting enzyme. Angiotensin converting enzyme converts angiotensin 1 into angiotensin 2. Angiotensin 2 stimulate the adrenal cortex. Adrenal cortex release aldosterone. Aldosterone promote the faculty to reabsorption. So after some time what happened? Now the blood volume is less. We assume 4.5 liters. After some time 5 liters, 5.5 liters, 6 liters. So blood volume increases due to faculty to reabsorption. Now the wall of atria stretched to accommodate more blood. The stretched wall of atria release atrial natriuretic peptide or factor. Atrial natriuretic peptide or factor ANP or ANF. So ANF stop the faculty to reabsorption. After some time 6 liters become 5.5 liter. 5.5 liter become 5 liter. Again 4.5 liter. At the time RAS mechanism is operating. Renin, angiotensin, aldosterone system is RAS mechanism. RAS mechanism increase the blood volume. ANF decrease the blood volume. Both are antagonistic in function. Renin, angiotensin, aldosterone system, RAS. So function of RAS is increase the blood volume. Function of atrial natriuretic peptide or atrial natric factor, it decrease the blood volume. In this manner, in patient, blood volume is regulated by RAS and ANF. Renin, angiotensin, aldosterone system. ANF is a hormone secreted by heart atrial wall. ANF is vasodilator, dilate the blood vessel, so blood pressure decreases. ADH, angiotensin, aldosterone are vasoconstrictor. So due to constriction means you already know contraction. Vaso means blood vessel. Blood vessels undergo contraction. As a result, blood pressure increases. So ADH, aldosterone, angiotensin increase the blood pressure. ANF decrease the blood pressure. Kidney function. In some patients they consume less amount of water. So at the time blood volume decreases. So whenever blood volume decreases, osmotic receptors activated. They are present all over the body. Osmotic receptors stimulate the hypothalamus. Hypothalamus release antidiuretic hormone. In some patient hypothalamus fail to release ADH. Even though in some patient hypothalamus release ADH, receptor is destroyed by the antibodies. Due to non-availability of receptor, ADH unable to attach to hormonal receptor, so fail to initiate the faculty to reabsorption. At the time, juxtaglomerular cells, modified smooth muscle cells present in the afferent arteriole known as juxtaglomerular cells. they detect the low blood volume in the afferent arteriole, and at the time they release renin enzyme. Liver release angiotensinogen. Renin converts angiotensinogen into angiotensin 1. Lungs release angiotensin converting enzyme. The angiotensin converting enzyme converts angiotensin 1 into angiotensin 2. Now angiotensin 2 stimulate the adrenal cortex. Adrenal cortex release aldosterone. Aldosterone promote the faculty to reabsorption. So after some time, blood volume, for example, so when the juxtaglomerular cells detect the blood volume, we assume 4.5 liters. Now due to faculty to reabsorption, 4.5 liters become 5 liters, 5.5 liters, 6 liters, blood volume increase. So to accommodate the total 6 liters blood, the wall of atria stretched. The stretched wall of atria release a hormone, atrial natriuretic peptide or atrial natriuretic factor. It acts as a vasodilator, stop the faculty to reabsorption. So due to faculty to reabsorption means the water is not reabsorbed while passing through DCT and straight collecting duct. At the time what happens? Automatically excess amount of water goes out. So after some time 6 liters become 5.5 liter, 5.5 liter, 5 liter, 5 liter become 4.5 liter. So whenever blood volume decreases, ROS mechanism involved. So function of ROS mechanism increase the blood volume. Function of ANF decrease the blood volume. In patients, these two are antagonistic, opposite. ROS increase the blood volume, ANF decrease the blood volume. Next point is micturition. The process of releasing of urine is known as micturition. The process of releasing of urine is known as micturition. The process of releasing of urine is known as micturition. So urine is collected in the urinary bladder. After some time, 3 or 4 hours, the urinary bladder loaded with urine. At the time, stretch receptors present on the urinary bladder. Whenever the urinary bladder try to expand, the stretch receptors activate, and the activated stretch receptor transfer the message to brain. Now the brain send the voluntary action. So whenever urinary bladder is filled, immediately the stretch receptor transfer the message. So information, the brain send the message. As a result, the urinary bladder contract and the sphincter present at the opening urethral meatus relax. As a result, the urine is released from the urinary bladder. So micturition is a voluntary process. So whenever we wish to urinate, so the brain send positively. So that means the brain send the message. So after receiving the message, the urinary bladder contract and the sphincter relax. As a result, we release the urine to exterior. The neural action involved in micturition is known as micturition fluxes. Micturition fluxes. You already know 1 to 1.5 liters urine excreted by every human, 1 to 1.5 liter, and pH is 6 and light yellow in color. Light yellow in color. Characteristic odor, smell, light yellow in color, and urine contain 25 to 30 grams of urea. So every day we urinate 1 to 1.5 liters urine. So in 1 to 1.5 liter urine, 25 to 30 grams of urea is present. So due to presence of urea, human beings are known as ureotelic. If major nitrogenous waste material is urea, animal is known as ureotelic animal. The urine examination help in clinical diagnosis of several diseases. For example, in some patient, glucose is present, known as glucosuria. Ketone bodies are present. Ketone bodies, oxidation of fat, ketone bodies are formed. Ketonuria. If glucose is present, glucosuria. If ketone bodies are present, ketonuria. Ketone bodies are formed due to oxidation of fat. So glucosuria, ketonuria are the symptoms of diabetes mellitus. Diabetes mellitus. So sugar disease, normal, technical word diabetes mellitus. In patients suffering from diabetes mellitus, glucose and ketone bodies present in the urine. Presence of glucose in the urine is known as glucosuria. Presence of ketone bodies, ketonuria. So glucosuria and ketonuria are the symptoms of diabetes mellitus. So the process of release of urine is known as micturition. So pH of urine 6, light yellow in color, characteristic odor. So urine contain 25 to 30 grams of urea. So per day we urinate 1 to 1.5. This 1 to 1.5 liters urine contain 25 to 30 grams of urea. So major nitrogenous waste material is urea. That's why human beings are ureotelic animal. We discuss tomorrow we discuss other excretory organs, artificial kidney, disorders, and PU questions. Tomorrow I am going to complete. So one more point, the excretory organs in various animals also not yet complete. So other given excretory organs in a particular phylum. Tomorrow we discuss excretory organs in different phyla, other excretory organs in our body, excretory disorders, and PU questions. Or it is better to complete excretory organs in the same. Other excretory organs, lungs. Lungs every day, every minute eliminate 200 ml of carbon dioxide and abundant amount of water in the form of water vapor. Water vapor. Similarly, sweat glands. Sweat glands eliminate sodium chloride, small quantity of urea and lactic acid. Main function of sweat glands: regulate our body temperature. Regulate the body temperature. Main function is regulation of body temperature. When the surrounding temperature is more than 37 degrees Celsius at the time, so sweat comes out. By the influence of surrounding environmental temperature, sweat is evaporated. While evaporation, cooling process occur, it is known as evaporation cooling. So in this manner, reduce the raised temperature. Evaporation cooling reduce the raised peripheral temperature. So sweat glands excrete sodium chloride, urea, lactic acid. Scent glands. Okay, next one is sebaceous glands. Sebaceous gland. Sebaceous glands release sebum. Release sebum. Sebum contain wax, hydrocarbons. Wax, hydrocarbons. The sebum also keep the hair and skin smooth and healthy. Moreover, excrete the wax hydrocarbons. Next one, liver. In the liver, due to degradation of RBC, bilirubin, biliverdin pigments are formed, bile pigments. So the biliverdin, bile pigments, degraded cholesterol, some steroids from the liver enter into the lumen of alimentary canal. So along with the fecal matter, these substances sent out. Bilirubin and biliverdin released by liver give light brown color to the fecal matter. So bilirubin, biliverdin only giving color to the fecal matter. So these are the some some organs excrete some substances present in our body. Lungs every minute excrete 200 ml of carbon dioxide. In addition, eliminate abundant amount of water in the form of water vapor. Liver, so some RBC degraded, destroyed in the liver. As a result, bilirubin, biliverdin, these are the bile pigments. Bilirubin, biliverdin are the bile pigments. And in addition to bile pigments, liver also release degraded cholesterol, some steroids into the alimentary canal. All these substances sent out through anus along with the fecal matter. Sweat glands main function is regulate our body function. In addition, they sent out sodium chloride, urea, lactic acid. Sebaceous glands release the sebum, oily secretion. The oily secretion keep the skin and hair smooth and healthy. Moreover, along with the sebum, wax hydrocarbons also sent out. So tomorrow we discuss artificial kidney, some respiratory disorders and respiratory organs in various animal groups.